everybody, and welcome to the Guru and the Other Guy, where we've got a special guest today. And as all you guys know, me and the Guru cannot stand gurus, so we make fun. And now, I know I make fun of a lot of realtors, but we're bringing in a realtor. His name is Mike Benedict. He's a realtor at eXp Realtor. And today we're going to talk about the market a little bit. Mike, say hello to everybody. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you've done, who you are, yada, 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 and we'll jump right into it.
Hello, I'm Mike Benedict. I'm with eXp Realty. I've had my real estate license for 14 years now. I'm also an investor. I also did mortgages pre-2010 for 4 years with a company out in Horsham, Pennsylvania. So I came from the mortgage side of things first, and then I got my real estate license.
Nice. Very good. All right. So, Guru, we talked before about the lawsuit about the realtors. You brought it up to our attention, about 6-8 months ago. Yeah, about 6-8 months. Yeah, about 6-8 months ago, you brought up the lawsuit with the realtor. And
right.
Mike, you posted something on Facebook the other day about the lawsuit. Why don't you go in and talk about what the realtors are talking about today, the pros, the cons, and me and Kev, me and the Guru can kind of jump in and give you our, 40 years, 80 combined years of experience and what we feel the outcome might be. So why don't you take the floor and tell us what the realtors are talking about, okay?
Yeah, I mean, where do I start? Without me getting, too, how can I say this? Without me getting too involved in where all the misinformation is coming from.
Yep.
Because some agents and some information has been put out there
Yep.
spotty.
Yep.
It's caused a big rift with, how the new listings are going to go as far as buyer's agent compensation.
Okay.
So
now, what have you
really
heard so far
out there? But I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, what have you heard so far? Like, what is in your brokerage firm? What have you guys? Has it been finalized? Has it been set in stone? Are you guys changing contracts? Are you guys having meetings? What's kind of going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, so the contracts will be changed as of August 17th, from what my understanding is. But again, this has all been changed and things been moved. Dates have been moved. So
Okay.
it's supposed to happen come August 17th, where the seller will have the option to give a buyer's agent compensation, a commission.
Okay. This all stems
through the seller.
Okay, to the seller. So basically, let me make sure I got it right. And Guru, I got a question for you. So basically, what's going on, Mike, is that now, because of this lawsuit, when a listing agent talks to a seller and says, okay, we're going to list your property, and you have an option, you can either A, pay like 6% and we're going to split it between the buyer and the seller, or B, you just pay me 3%, 2%, whatever it may be. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Guru, go ahead. Chime
Jersey, well, I just talked to a few people. Jersey, it's effective August 1st.
Okay.
Now, the way I understand it, before an agent can show a house or talk about the house or do anything in New Jersey, they have to sign an agreement that the agent will be compensated. They cannot tell them about the property. They cannot show them the property.
Which agent? Wait. Which agent?
The buyer's agent.
He means the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
The buyer's agent.
You cannot do anything. I mean, you can't, technically, you cannot even give them any, well, technically, you can't give them any information. So before you would have a relationship, they have to commit to the buyer's agent.
So I'm a little confused on that. Explain that to me a little bit better. Who's got to commit to
who? Before they can look. If you called Joe Smith to show
All right,
a
I'm the
house.
seller. So wait a minute, I'm the seller.
No, I'm talking about the buyer.
Oh,
No,
the
he's
buyer.
talking about
Okay, the
buyers.
buyer. Okay, the buyer.
I was talking about listings. He was
Okay.
talking about the buyer side. I was talking about the seller side.
Okay, so we got the seller side. So when you do an agreement, you're going to have to give them, hey, here's option A, here's option B.
Yeah, but I think that's more critical right now. I think the buyer side is a real critical part of the transaction now.
I agree with that. So here's my question to both of you. If the seller says, hey, I'm not paying 6%, I'm only paying you to list my house. Mm-hmm. What I want to know is, what buyer's agent is going to bring them to the house, right?
Well, they're going to have an agreement.
Who has the agreement? Who?
Buyer and the agent. It's the only way you can show property to a buyer.
Okay, so
Ben,
go ahead, Mike.
So what he's saying is that when a buyer wants to buy a house, he has to commit with an agent, and they have to sign a contract that says if there is no compensation from the seller on a commission, you have to pay me my 2.5%, 3%, whatever they negotiate at the time of that contract.
And it's not, and Mike, it's not disclosed, right? Like nobody can see it. Isn't that correct? Like
no, nobody can see it on the seller side on the MLS. The buyer's agent has an agreement with the buyers, so they both see it. What has to happen, though, where people are making mistakes at, from what I'm hearing, is that the mortgage company also needs to have that buyer's agency contract submitted with the listing and the offer of the agreement of sale. So the mortgage company understands that the money is coming from the buyers on their side of the sheet.
Wait.
This guy, he doesn't.
Hold on. I'm an old time mortgage guy. I'm an old time mortgage guy. What the hell? What the hell do I care? Why do I care? Who's paying the commission? What do I pay the commission?
Money.
Yeah, down money, right?
It has nothing to do.
The down money, and see if they can still afford it because they got to pay the buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm never. Right. See, as a buyer, I'm never signing that form.
You're never going to look at the property.
Well, wait a minute. If you're a first-time buyer and
you're never going to look at the property here in New Jersey, I can tell you that. If you don't sign that buyer's agency and spell out compensation for that agent,
then I'm not. Wait a minute. Then I'm not
going to look at the property.
Then I'm not hiring a realtor. Period.
And what are you going to do? It's listed in the MLS. What, are you going to knock on the door?
Every time you listen, listen. Every time you listen, listen. Every time, I'm sorry. Every time you list it on the MLS, every time it's listed on the MLS, it goes right on Zillow, it goes on Realtor.com, it goes on all. I'm not using a realtor. I'm not going to go and put my 5%, 10%, 20% down and then pay another realtor 3% on top of it. You just killed
you're not going to buy a property if it's listed.
Just killed the first-time home buyer market.
Mike, I have Mike ask Mike a question here.
Go ahead.
Isn't the listing agency and this the seller signing a listing agreement, isn't there provisions going to be in there that regardless if someone like him knocks on the door, that they're going to have to compensate the agency? Like nobody can go rogue on this. They're going to have the buyer or the seller in check, I would think, in the listing.
From my understanding is that the way the contracts are written, and we did view one. I can't remember it word for word, but the seller almost has like an option to offer that compensation to the buyer's broker or buyer's agent. Okay. Now, this is what I think is going to distinguish good realtors versus realtors who don't know how to negotiate and don't know how to talk about, buyer's representation and selling representation. Because really, that doesn't mean, even though they say, oh, well, we're not going to offer any any buyer's agent compensation, you can still take an offer from a buyer, but there has to be a separate addendum that says, listen, the buyer agent submits an offer on behalf of their buyer, along with we are also asking for 2.5% compensation for the buyer's agent, and then you accept that offer or not. Now, the problem is in a market like this, a lot of sellers are going to say, no, we'll take an offer that doesn't have that buyer's compensation on there. So that's where the problem lies at times.
Hold on. Go ahead, Guru. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Guru. Go ahead.
Agents that you're going to have to sign, the buyer's going to have to sign. Now, there's a problem here. The buyer signs in New Jersey with an agent that they're going to pay him 2%, let's just say. But you also can sign with an agent and say you're not paying anything. But now that agent may be SOL because maybe the seller says they're not paying an agent. So an agent's not going to sign anything, certainly here in Jersey, probably without the buyer committing up front to a commission. Now that can go away. I suppose if the seller has agreed to pay both sides prior, I guess that can happen.
Well, I have a question. I have a question regarding that, right? So I got two questions. The first one is what if the seller, is it known or unknown that if I'm a buyer and I tell my realtor, listen, if you're making me sign this form, I'm just letting you know, don't show me a friggin' house that the seller's not paying your commission because I'm not paying it, right? So does the buyer's agent know if the seller is paying it, yes or no? Paying the commission. Okay. So they know. So hold on. So now if a seller is not paying the commission, what buyer broker who has a guy like me who says I'm not paying it, right? They're never going to show him that house, right?
But the buyer's always paid the commission. See, that's the
no, they haven't. The buyers never paid the commission.
It's baked in. It's baked in. They've always paid a commission indirectly. It's all, the whole deal is baked in. Yeah, the seller says they're paying the 6%, but the negotiations of the price and all the dynamics, maybe compensation, maybe seller assist, it's always been paid. This is just kind of
but it comes off the seller's top. But listen, hold on, Guru. But listen, that always came off the seller's side of the table. I know it's baked. No, but listen, let me finish. I know it's baked in, but let me just say this. If I'm a guy, right? Say my daughter wants to buy her first house. She's only got 3% or 3.5% to put down FHA. She needs to get a seller assist. She doesn't have an extra 3% to pay to the broker.
I get it, but if it's always the buyer and seller have always paid the commission together. They always have.
No. Yes. I don't agree. Mike, do you agree with that?
I mean, I understand what he's saying because it's still a bottom line for the seller. It's still a bottom line for the seller. Really, what it's doing is it's not allowing. I shouldn't say not allowing. What they're trying to change the word from the previous contract of the listing contract is that the broker is no longer paying a buyer's agent. It's coming from the seller.
Broker never paid though.
If
it's more upfront.
Right.
No, but this is what you know what? If I was the Realtors Association, I would fire every attorney that works on the commission because if they didn't know,
fined $5 billion or whatever it was.
I understand, but why did they get fined? Because they got fined because the contract was written like crapola, right? So some jack off.
They controlled commissions.
I understand. No, listen, they always control the commissions. But my point is this: the seller can always negotiate. Listen, Every time I sold a house, if I had a realtor, I negotiated with the realtor, right? I had a brand new construction. I was selling multi-million-dollar homes. And I had a realtor. I said, I'm not paying you 6%. I'm paying you 5% at the most. At the most.
Yeah, 5% is standard on these constructions.
I get it, but my point is this, though, right? If this lawsuit came because of the wording of the contract, every attorney should be fired from their general counsel should be fired because they should have seen that up front.
They had to pay billions of dollars because it was proven that the brokers, the realtors, fixed commissions.
No, because of the wording, Mike.
What do we mean?
Mike, hold on, Mike. Was it because of how the contract was written out?
From my understanding, that's the way that's from my understanding. Now, I didn't do much research. This is just what's been told to me.
What did they say?
I didn't look into the actual court lawsuit and all that. But
I got you. But the
that's
guru
what they're
did
getting
though.
away from because they won't allow us to give the buyer's agent commissions on the MLS.
Right,
We're not
so
allowed.
Okay.
Negotiable.
All right. Okay, I got you. Time out for 1 second. Correct me if I'm wrong, both of you, because you both did real estate. Listen, hold on. But you guys were licensed realtors either at some point or still are. Here's my question.
Still are.
I got you. So the contract said, correct me if I'm wrong, the seller is paying, let's just say, Mike, your company, eXp Realty. Okay, we'll give them a plug. So the seller is going to pay eXp Realty, say 5%. eXp Realty is then paying the seller broker, right? 2.5%, right?
Correct.
That's the way the contract was written. But in reality, the seller was actually paying it. So it's a badly written. So it was a badly
written. Well, the brokers can't pay in that contract. Right. The brokers can't pay another broker now. You know that?
Right. Oh no, I don't know.
That's the reason.
They can't even write a check to another agency.
Right. Well, that's right. So this is my point. So it was a badly written contract from the get-go because
it was price fixing. It was commission fixing.
How was it commission? Explain that to me. Explain it to me.
Because everybody knew you went to an agency to list your house. They said you got to pay 6%. There was no negotiations. I know Cole Banker back.
Wait.
So they said 7.
Wait, there were scumbag realtors.
No, that was the majority of agencies.
Well, that's not true. Wait a second. That's across the. Maybe I don't know. Mike, was that true across the board?
I don't know about Jersey. I mean, we for me, depending on my client, and I negotiated my listings for my commissions. I negotiated with my clients. Not all of them are all the same. Because maybe one guy bought 3 houses off of me. So for me, I wasn't always the same. No, for me.
But you negotiated. So
I negotiated. Correct.
Right. So Guru, you're saying.
They didn't. Maybe he did, but they don't negotiate. They have to.
Okay. I can agree.
There are a lot of agents that don't.
$3 to $5 billion will make you negotiate.
Well, no. Listen. I do agree that realtors. Listen. Anybody who knows me knows I can't stand realtors. They're check chasers, right? I firmly.
Hear that, Mike?
He knows. He was a student of mine. He knows. He heard me say it.
I've heard him say it.
But listen. The majority of them do not care about their clients. Mike does. I know Mike does. The majority of them don't care about their client. They care about the check. And I agree with you, Guru. Yes, a lot of the realtors would not negotiate that commission amount, but there are realtors that did, because I know a bunch of them that did negotiate off that 6%.
How many realtors are in the association? Like
my God, a ton.
So you found
in the Pennsylvania? Oh, you mean across the world, across the country?
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
So this guy found 3 or 4 out of millions and millions. But you know what it's going to do? It's going to thin the herd. It's going to be better for like Mike, who's a professional.
Yes,
it's going to get those women who come from another career
Yeah,
and are
moms.
And it really is going to thin the herd out. So the quality of agents will.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. Listen, here's one of the things. Listen, I'll tell you this. Listen, I was building multi-million-dollar homes. I got to tell you, the realtors, some of the realtors that I had were no good. They would be like, oh, well, listen. Listen, this is the last house that I sold. They're like, oh, let's put it on the market at 169. I'm like 1.7, it's literally worth $2 million. Show me another house that you can buy this exact house for under $2 million. You can't. So why should I sell it for 1.7? That's $300,000 out of my pocket. But for the realtors, it was like $5,000 each, the three of them, right? But they didn't have to do any work, and they're still making $100,000. It's criminal. Some of them, listen, good riddance, fucking check chasers, right? That's a good riddance to all of them.
Yeah, but you just defended them. Now you're going after them.
I'm not defending them. I'll never defend the realtors. I won't defend the realtors. I do agree there's some good ones. Now, Mike's a good one. Tyler's a good one.
This is Mike. Mike's the guest, so give him the floor. Let him.
Go ahead, Mike. All right, go ahead, Mike.
See, everything that we're all talking about right now, and I think, Vin, you asked me this in the beginning when we started off of the podcast. You had asked me, what are all the realtors talking about? Well, this whole conversation right here, plus another 50 more. There's a lot of people that are misunderstood. Even when I look on Facebook and I see realtors chat, because, obviously the memes are out and everything's out about this, all the meme names. And, I look underneath there and these agents don't even know they're saying stuff. They don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
It's just business as normal. If you're a good agent, you know how to negotiate.
Yep.
You know how to sit down and talk to your clients and be thorough and just distribute the information properly. It'll all work out in the end, and we'll all get a commission. It's just a little different doing business.
Totally agree. I couldn't agree with that. I agree though with the guru that it will thin out the herd. Right, that's because they don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to talk to people. Right, so I in a way, I mean, 6% commission on big. I mean, they get some big checks for not doing a whole lot. And I'm always saying that. Listen, and let me get Mike, you'll understand. Mike, you'll understand this. Because you were in the business for a little while. They came down super hard on us mortgage brokers making money, right? Some guys made 3, 4, 5 points, maybe more, 6, 7. Subprime, they made 8, 9, 10. I get it. But the realtors are making 6%, and they're not doing half the work that the mortgage brokers did, right? And they literally came down like a ton of bricks on mortgage brokers over commissions, right? So, in a way, I don't feel that horrible for realtors, to be honest with you. I mean, I do it.
Well, both industries are hurting severely right now.
Yeah, so is this good or bad for the market? Is this good or bad for the market?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'll ask both. You answer, and then we'll go to the guru. Is it good or bad for the market?
I think right now, I think each market that brings a seller right now is a seller's market. So I think this is going to hurt the buyers right now, just because again, they have to put more money down if the listing side is not accepting a buyer's compensation. So it's going to affect their money, and I'm sure the mortgage industry will come out with their ways of helping buyers buy homes. Right. And, that's all starting to come out now. But
Mike, before I go to the guru and ask him that same question. So, Guru, I'm going to come to you and ask the same question. But I have this question. And let me know if you know this, Mike. In the mortgage industry, on a first-time home buyer, right, if someone's not putting 20% down, the max they can get, I'm not talking about FHA, I'm talking about conventional, they can only get up to 3% seller assist. So now, if the seller pays that 3%, right, is that going to be considered closing costs to the mortgage person? So can I get a 3% seller assist And can I get the 3% commission paid by the seller?
So I'm not sure if I understand this correctly. Are you saying that the listing side will offer a buyer's compensation
Yeah,
to the
okay.
buyer's agent
Yeah,
for
yes.
commissions?
So here's what I'm saying. On a convention, on the mortgage side, on my old side and your old side, right? The mortgage side. On a conventional loan with less than 20% down, the max seller assist you can get is up to 3%, right? Because you can only cover your closing costs. You can't get more than your closing costs, right? It used to be non-reoccurring closing costs, but now you can add in your tax and insurance. Okay, so up to 3% you can get a seller assist. So if, let's just say my daughter's buying a house. She only has 5% to put down, but she needs help with her closing costs. So she asked for a 3% seller assist. The house she loves, she wants it. The seller is not offering the 3% commission, okay? Or no, I'm sorry. They are offering the 3%. So she gets the 3% commission to pay the broker, her broker, right? Is the mortgage industry going to look at that as part of the closing costs? So now she cannot get an additional 3% to help for her actual closing cost. Do you follow me on that?
Again, I'm not sure if I'm following you, are you saying that the listing is offering a buyer's agent compensation to pay for the?
Yeah, they are. Yes.
Okay, no, then
yes.
it's just normal as business. You would still get the 3%.
The commission, if the seller was paying 3%, is that seller assist, which knocks out anything else.
Right. Yes. Does that knock out the assist for closing cost? Mike, let me say it another way, or maybe the guru can say it. I'm asking a normal transaction before the lawsuit. Sales price is $200,000. I want $200,000 and a 3% seller assist for closing costs, right? I want a 3% seller assist. It's going to help me pay closing costs, okay? And the mortgage business says that's fine. You can ask for up to 3%. Now, the seller is paying my broker 3%, and I want another 3% on top to cover my closing costs.
6%.
So it's for a total of 6%. So does the mortgage company say, no, you're limited to the 3%? So if they pay the seller, I'm shit out of luck on my
because
closing costs?
That 3% that the seller is paying might be income now. Seriously.
Say that again.
If the seller is paying 3% to the buyer for the commission, it could be income. The IRS could look at that as income.
To who?
To the buyer.
To the seller? To the buyer?
The seller to the buyer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. That's another kick.
I'm not an accountant, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you're getting 3% and someone's giving you a check to pay, because this is the thing, the seller has to write the 3% to the buyer, and the buyer pays the agent, because you don't have broker to broker payments now.
Right.
So that's basically income, if that's the way.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. So you're saying the seller is writing at the closing table. The seller writes the check.
Pay brokers now.
So it has to go to the buyer, and then the buyer pays the broker?
Or the title company, and then
Is that right, Mike?
I'm confused. So the seller is paying the compensation for the buyer's agent's compensation.
How's it going through?
Right, how does it
go through? Does it go directly to the broker, or does it go to the seller? I mean, to the buyer, and then the buyer pays it. How does it work?
No, so the seller would pay the broker. The broker
can't, in Jersey, the broker can't pay a broker anymore. Like one broker.
No, but the seller's paying.
No, the seller is paying the broker.
I know, but
on the buyer side.
The seller isn't paying the broker to pay the buyer, so the seller is paying the title company, or is he paying the buyer to pay the agent?
They're paying the other broker. They're going to pay both
brokers.
You're not understanding.
All right,
Jersey, right now in Jersey, I was just told this today.
Broker
cannot pay another broker.
Right.
Anything.
Right. We got that. So at the closing,
the seller is paying the broker.
Yeah, the seller is. So it's going to
Right.
yeah.
So the
So
seller
it's
has to pay the title company, or they have to pay the buyer for the buyer's commission.
yes, it's going to be Guru. It's going to be just like it was. So at the closing table, and listen, instead of 6% going to EXP and then EXP paying ABC, it's going to be from the seller side 3% to EXP and 3% to ABC.
No. What?
You're
now?
saying no? What?
Yeah, yeah. It has to be. It can't. Yeah, but is that income? That's what I'm telling you.
But it's not going to the buyer.
Yeah.
It's not going to the buyer. It's going directly to the broker.
Indirectly, it is.
There's no way they're going to count that
Because
as
they have
income.
a contract that says they're going to pay 3%.
I got you, but there's no way the IRS is going to count that as income. I don't see that at all.
Who knows?
Right. Well, right. You're right. You never know.
Get the IRS.
Well, Guru, get back to the question, right? Do you think this is going to hurt
Not
the
give the
market?
IRS any ideas.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yes. Do you think this is going to hurt the market? Guru.
See, I think the market right now is DOA.
Really?
Right now, it doesn't matter. Right now, this thing is just, it's going to be there if the market, and what cracks me up about this, talk about interest rates, you will never see the interest to where it was a few years ago. Ever, ever, ever. Let me go back 60,
Don't
whatever.
ever say that. Don't ever say that.
Once my father bought a property in Philadelphia, 5%. We didn't see that until 50 some years ago.
I
now
got you.
where we're at again. Now we're up. Your rates are not going to ever go that low. They're not going to see 5% in many, 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 many decades.
That's why you need to know how to do creative financing. You need to know assumable loans, and you need to know installment sale contracts.
When I started in the business, rates were 14%.
Yeah.
When we went down to 10, it was a feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
Now people are conditioned. When
Right.
you condition human beings, and now they tasted that low commission.
Yep.
They are fighting it. We're lucky to be at 7%. I was around when it was in business 16% with Jimmy Carter.
It was 18%. It was 18%. 18.
Whatever it was. We were shell shocked. We
Yep.
were paying business loans that were crazy.
Yeah.
But now everybody's bitching at 7%.
You're too young to remember that, Mike, when interest rates were at 18%.
He's too young.
Yeah, he's way too young to remember that.
Well,
But the fact of the
when I
matter
bought my
is,
house, it was 6.5%, and that was late 90s.
see,
Right.
that's where
6.5%.
That's normal.
personally, I think we're at a good rate.
We're
I think that's
normal.
normal too.
I agree. We are at a normal rate, but
we're at a
you're
normal.
right. We are conditioned to be at 2 and
Do you
3%.
think the Fed's going to go back to 3.5%?
Not anytime soon. Not now.
You're going
Depends
to
on
be
who-
in your grave.
Depends on who gets
Anytime.
elected. I think the election's going to play a big part of it.
No, it might bump it at 1%. It's not. It's not.
Listen, no, I agree. It's not going to get to 2 or 3 anytime soon. I
Back
agree with
to
that.
What you're asking me, the market right now is DOA.
Okay.
All right? There's nothing happening.
What do you think in the near future? Say 3, 6, 9 months, a year from now.
Not much difference, I don't think.
What do you think, Mike? 3, 6, 9 months, a year from now.
I would tend to agree. I mean, again, right now everything looks a lot different, the landscape. So, I haven't had enough time on this to see how the consumers are going to react to this as of right now. So, I mean, I would say it's just going to be the same. People are always going to want to buy houses. Again, I think a lot of it plays into it. I think politics, unfortunately, in this world play a part of it. I think, you also got the new thing, crypto, coming in right now in the world. That's going to be real big. You're going to be able to buy a house with crypto today, but that's another podcast. So I think the world is changing here in the next year or two, and it's I really can't predict it, to be honest with you. I'm being honest.
Let me give news, which we always start, but we ain't into that.
Yeah.
A $1 million starter home is now norm in 225 U.S. cities. 39% of renters never, and these are first-time buyers, never think they're going to buy a home.
Wow.
Confidence is pitiful.
It's way down. It's way
And
down.
how are you going to convince a
Yeah.
buyer, a
I have
first-time buyer, uh, to pay a commission?
That's my point. That's what my point is.
Yeah.
It's going, in my opinion, this kills a lot of first-time home buyers because they cannot
1000%.
afford to pay an extra 3% for a commission. I wouldn't pay it at all. Like,
See,
I'm
that's
not going to.
Mike, what area are you in? What area?
Yeah, I'm in Montgomery County,
Okay, which is
Pennsylvania.
it's a little Tony area. I mean, it's wealth up there. And how many home buyers are in your? Do you think are in your?
Well, I have like 3 right now that are struggling. They're struggling with the rates. They're struggling with income and the way things have cost. Our insurance have gone up. Our car payments have gone up. So their debt to income ratio is out of whack because of the inflation. So really, to be honest with you, I kind of agree with Vin here. This whole thing evolving right now is really going to hurt first time home buyers the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. The
Unless
other thing
there's
is
programs that they come out with.
like if I'm a buyer, I'm not paying that. I would refuse to. To me, it's like a junk fee, right? Like I would be like, wait a minute. You want me to pay $1 million? Like if I'm buying $1 million house, right? Because you said the $1 million starter home. So okay, I'm going to put 20% down to get away from the PMIs, right? So I'm going to, but then you want me to put another 3% to the buyer's broker, right? You want me to put like
30 grand.
I'm like, no, absolutely no friggin' way am I doing that. It's just, no, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, this is what I think that first-time homeowners should do, or buyers. Because I just finalized an installment sale last night.
Right.
That's where I think they should really be looking. You can balloon it out 5 years. You don't have to put the large closing costs down.
Right.
And
plus, you can negotiate the interest rate.
And and the interest rate. Right now, I just did one. The first year 5%, the second year 5.5%, the third year 6%.
What's the balloon? 3-year balloon?
3-year balloon.
Right.
5, 5.5, and 6.
Right. It's not bad compared to today's rates.
And
right?
it's a win-win on each situation.
Of course, the installment sale is always a win-win.
I'll tell you, if I just could put our brains in these young people's mind, go with contract for deed installment.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
People out there. And, and the realtors could benefit from it.
Sure, of course they can.
You could get the commission, at least part of it, and then maybe get it in increments. You
can negotiate it all sorts of ways. I mean, the way I look at it is if I'm a realtor, that's money in the bank.
You're suspended right now. Now I'm in a different market. Down here, it's all second home buyers, and it's people with money, and but these time home buyers, even second time home buyers, I think they're in a quagmire too. But
I think it's going. My personal opinion is that I don't think the good realtors, like you said, Mike, that know how to talk and know how to negotiate, they're just going to be. I think it's business as normal. Because if it's me, I'm just saying, listen, if you want to attract real buyers, you're going to have to pay the 3%, right? Because most buyers are not going to want to pay it. They're not going to have the money. The realtors aren't really going to come and show you the house. Right? If they know you're not paying it, they're going to go find a house that is paying it, right? Because a lot of the brokers are going to have buyers that only want to see houses that a seller going to pay. So I do think like the good realtors who know how to negotiate, know how to talk, they're not going to have a problem. I think it's going to hurt a lot of the people that don't know how to talk to people, don't know how to negotiate, and I think it's really going to hurt buyers more than it hurts realtors. I think this hurts buyers more than anybody. I think this hurts the buyers more than anybody.
Mike, get close to what is the average home in Montgomery County now? Where are you up at? Like the average median? The average home.
In Montgomery, it's gone up a little bit. Last time I checked, I think the average was right around 550.
Yeah, I was going to say 5.
Right around there.
That's
Maybe
about what I was going to say.
substantial, man. That's still substantial.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a lot of money. $500,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't go in Montgomery County. If you see a $200,000 house, it's a shock. It's a teardown, right, Mike? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, that $500,000 house, right? That $500,000 house, that's not buying you a mansion. That's not buying you a 7,000 square foot house. That's buying you a typical 3,200, 25, 27, 32. Yeah, starter home in Montgomery County. That's what getting you.
And what's it like in Bucks? Bucks is the richest county in Pennsylvania, right, or no?
I think Montgomery County is richer than Bucks County.
Really? Because Bucks is smaller, maybe?
Chester County's pretty rich. Well, there's pockets. There's pockets of very wealthy parts of all over. See, Montgomery County, you got Villanova.
Right, so I stand corrected.
You got the whole main line, you know?
Montgomery County is 430.
Okay.
430.
Okay.
Median.
That's still
which is still
$500,000,
whatever you want to look at.
Yeah, by the time you pay closing costs and everything else. And that's not a big house.
Pay closing costs in the commission, the realtor's commission. Yeah, you're up at $500,000.
That's why I think this hurts buyers a lot. I think this hurts the market again, right? It just hurts the market again. Here's what I want to know.
It's definitely making it a lot harder for buyers today. I'll tell you that.
Here's what I want to know.
Make it a lot harder for buyers.
Here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know. Who's the JO that started this lawsuit? You had to have such a damn
Missouri.
But could you imagine the guy or girl or person who
started? It was attorneys. Attorneys of that $4 or $5 billion. Attorneys got half of it.
I bet they did.
Yeah, we should start cutting their commissions.
But that's what I said. If the attorney said, "Oh, this contract's poorly written," I would fire the general counsel of the Association of Realtors immediately. I'd fire the whole council, because if this contract wasn't written properly, the way it should have been written, I'd fire them all, because you open the door to these realtors coming in and causing this.
It's been going on for decades and decades and decades. This just hit it was inevitable that something was going to happen.
Well,
I mean, it's just the way business was. And, the brokerage that owned all these agencies going back years, the agents are the ones that followed the broker, because the broker was in charge. The broker said,
I know. And a lot of them, and I agree with you, a lot of them were pays.
If a broker lowered the commission, it was money out of his pocket.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. A lot of those old timers were pigs. They wouldn't. I agree with you. They wouldn't negotiate at all on their price.
And I agree. The two biggest brokerage, and now they're all kind of commingled. But the two that controlled everything, and ironically, they were owned by the same company, with
Fox Roach
and Coldwell Banker. Now, they were owned by the same company,
right?
But nobody knew it, so they had a monopoly on the market.
Yeah,
C21 and Coldwell Banker, and now Coldwell Banker is Berkshire Hathaway.
Yep.
And and
they bought up everybody. They bought Fox and Roach. Berkshire Hathaway's buying everything up.
Berkshire. There's what's his name? Buffett. He thinks
Buffett.
He's 95. He thinks he's going to live forever. That guy.
No.
But anyway.
All right. So, Mike, we're going to wrap it up. Mike, any final words you want to give to our listeners out there regarding this? Any words of wisdom?
Just things are going to change. There's a lot that's changing, and not just in the real estate world, just everything in general today. This world is changing quickly, and you just got to hang in there and inform yourselves and make sure you're making educated decisions when you're dealing with agents or buyers agents and realtors. And I would suggest the consumers to interview these agents and
how do
work
they get a hold of you,
one.
Mike? How, if anybody who's watching wants to get a hold of you, how do
you
they get a hold of me?
My name's it's Mike Benedict. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. You can also reach out and call me. You can Google me, Mike Benedict at EXP Realty.
Right.
I'll come up.
We'll put a link on the bottom to your
Yeah, you
Facebook
got
and
my number.
Instagram.
You can post my number if you want, no
Okay.
problem.
All right.
But yeah, I would say make sure you guys are crossing your I's and dotting your I's and crossing your T's
Yeah,
when you're
interviewing the
interviewing
realtor.
agents.
I agree. Interviewing the realtor is a big thing. All right, Guru. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a plug. You got to
Thank you.
learn different ways of buying real estate creatively.
Yep.
And how to structure contracts, and it's real. I'm telling you, it works.
Hold on, Guru. We got a real realtor here. Mike, your thoughts on subject to financing? Would sellers use that method? Subject to. Seller's going to hand over their deed and say, "Yeah, pay my loan off whenever."
Subject to?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's something that they should be looking at.
You think that? Well, no. Do you think they'll be subject to compared to installment sale?
Yeah, I'm changing.
No, installment sale. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about installment sale. I apologize.
Yeah. Right. So the question is, right? Would a seller be more prone to do an installment sale or subject to? That's our question.
No, subject to 1,000%.
No, Mike.
I'm sorry. Installment sales. I'm sorry.
You're mixing up the two.
I'm sorry.
See,
you're confusing me.
Still be a student.
Yeah.
So subject to. For those that don't remember, subject to is where you give your deed away and the loan is staying in the seller's name.
Absolutely not. Never give your deed away in a subject to.
I thought your academy is more seller or more buyer prone.
What do you mean?
Well, you're for the buyers.
Yeah, no, we are for the buyer. No, I'm saying to Mike.
What I'm saying
would his sellers ever give away their deed to their property under a subject to? That was my question to Mike.
I think buyers should buy a house any way they can.
No, I agree with that.
Subject to.
Listen, a buyer should. Yes, I'm not disagreeing. A buyer should try every method. What I'm saying is a seller, and Mike deals with a lot of sellers, how many of them would give their deed away under a subject to scenario?
Absolutely. I wouldn't even recommend it. They shouldn't ever give their deed up. So I would not recommend it at all.
Right.
But the public is naive. They don't know what's going on.
They don't know, but they need to be educated.
Podcast, some of them, a lot of them, their heads spin because they think we're talking Greek.
Right, I got you. Well, we'll listen. We're gonna go do it again, and all right, boys. Listen, Mike, I appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely have you on again. Yep. Guru, if you want to finish your plug, go ahead and finish your plug.
What's my plug?
You're plugging the Golden Triangle Academy.
Oh yeah, I forgot. If you want to be educated, and I'll tell you, now is the time, man.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to. Conventional ways right now is suspended. You have to get knowledge and go to the academy. You got to.
Listen, I couldn't agree with you more. The academy is where to go. Right, Mike? You agree with that?
Oh, I absolutely do. Like I said, I took your course, and I absolutely agree. Thinking outside the box in today's market makes a lot of sense. And what you teach, Vin, there, I know I knew about it when I first went to your class, but you taught me so much about it that, I found it very interesting and a good avenue. And I think in this upcoming market, it will definitely – they'll start coming back. I think, what you're teaching, all of that's going to come back.
I agree. And you need to know it. Like the Guru said, you need to have the education. You definitely need to have the education. Yep. So,
and you need to have other avenues too.
Yes. Yes. Boys, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was spirited. It was great. And I'd love to have Mike. I'd like to have you back on. Right, Guru? We'll have you back on maybe another week or two. We'll talk more and we'll get more updates from you, Mike, to see what's, how this is all shaking out.
Yep.
All right.
See you guys.
All right, boys. Everybody, have a good one. Thank you, guys.